So I have 10 tests, test number 1 through 10. And I have the distance in meters, 1.82, 1.62, whatever, however many meters. And then I used the formulas. Remember where we learned how to use min, and we learned how to use max, and we learned how to use average. You can actually make the spreadsheet do the calculation for you. But if we didn't have that function, somebody tell me, what would I do with these 10 numbers to find their average? So you add all the numbers up and then divide by how many there are. So I'm going to add 1.82 plus 1.62 plus 1.45 plus 1.80. I'm going to add them all together and then divide by 10, and that will give me the average. Now, what if you're doing a car? How many of you are doing a car? Some kind of car? A lot of you guys. Have any of you that have made a car done your testing yet? Not yet. Okay, let's draw a picture of what that would look like so that everybody knows how to do their testing. And then I'll give you guys the rest of the period to go do that. You can at least get started. So the best way to do that would be to do it on paper. Well, the best way for me to show you would be to do it on paper. The best way for you to do it would be to do it on a spreadsheet. That's all right. Let's talk about a car. So we're going to set up a test track. We'll have our little car over here. This is my little rubber band car. And I'm going to mark off an area. Let's say I test my car once and it goes like 9 meters. I'm going to mark off an area that's 6 meters long. So I'm going to measure out 6 meters. And then I want to time with a stopwatch, like on my phone or on my Chromebook or an old school stopwatch. I want to know how long it takes this car to go 6 meters, because then I'm going to build my data table on. I'm going to say distance. This will be test number. And this will be the time in seconds. So for test number 1, it went 6 meters. And what if it went 6 meters in 9 seconds? 9.0. And then test number 2 was also 6 meters, because we're going to keep it 6 meters every time. And it went 6 meters in 7.0 seconds. And then test number 3, it went 6 meters, did it in 8.5 seconds. Now I would go all the way to 10. I would test it 10 times so that we know if, maybe you were off a little bit with how fast you hit the button on your stopwatch. We can even that out by averaging it. So what we always want to do with scientific data is do it enough times that we're very confident about our results. So once we have the distance, which is going to be 6 meters every time, and you might choose a different distance, 2 meters or 4 meters. It depends on how big your car is. We're going to figure out the speed. That's going to be our last column. Speed, that's in meters per second. So how do we get the speed? How do we calculate that for test number 1? How do we calculate that? Does anybody remember what speed is? It's a rate, right? So it's 2 different things. It's something per something. So how do we set that up like a fraction or a division problem? Somebody tell me. Summer, yes, distance over time. Distance over time. So what is our distance? Here, I'm going to just make a note here. Distance over time. Good. Distance over time. So 6 meters over 9.0 seconds equals, what's 6 divided by 9? I know it's 6.6 repeating. Or yeah, 6 repeating, 0.6 repeating. Meters per second. So how many numbers do we have here, including our decimal place? 9.0. Well, there's this thing called significant figures where we want to use just the same amount of numbers. So I would say 0.67. I'd round it to the hundredths place, 0.67. And remember, the meters per second, the units are up here in the heading, so we don't have to write it every time. So now we know how this is set up. Let's do the second one. It's going to be 7 meters. It's going to be 6 meters in 7 seconds. So what's 6 divided by 7? It's 0.86. What's 6 divided by 8.5? 0.71. And that's what you'll do is you just go down the line through all your tests and calculate the speed. Now, if you're really good with your spreadsheets and you remember how to put formulas in the spreadsheet, then you can make the spreadsheet do all the math for you. Did I do some math wrong? 6 divided by 8.5 equals, yeah, I got it right. So questions in the chat. If we have a car, can we do this? Yes, if you have a car, this is what I want you to do. Gather the distance and time data and calculate the speed like we've practiced in class before. Remember we did this with the example of the drone airplane in class? There is a spreadsheet. It's assigned to you in Google Classroom. You already have one with your name on it, and I want you to do it on that one. And in that, you're going to put your own data. So you have to set it up like this. You have to put in the headings. So let's look at what that would look like in Google Sheets. And by the way, everybody has access to Google Sheets. So you can even make a new spreadsheet if you had to, but everybody already has one assigned that you're going to turn in tomorrow with your data on it. So let's take a look at what that would look like on your spreadsheet. So you have a spreadsheet that looks like this, and you would put in all your data. So for your headings, we would put test number, and then we would put in distance in meters, space between the title and the units. And then what? And then the time, it took the car that go that distance, time in seconds. And then we would put in speed in meters per second. That's it. 4 columns. And we have test number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tests. And we can make this all look really pretty. You can select the whole column by clicking the letter at the top. And if you click the letter at the top, you can actually select multiple ones like that by using the Shift key. And then let's go over here to our horizontal alignment. I want to make them all centered. Oh, that makes it look much nicer, much more organized. So we said for every test, I tested my car in this example, 6 meters every time. And what I measured was the time. And we got 9.0 seconds and 7.0 seconds and 8.5 seconds. I can adjust this so that it's automatically going to have the number of decimal points that I want. And I can set that. So I just set it so it has 2 decimal points. And you do that by selecting the whole column, going to Format, Number, and see how this example has 2 decimal points. You can also do a custom one that has whatever number of decimal points you want. So 8.5, and let's put in some more fake data. 9.2, 8.3, 8.5, 8.5, 7.9, 9.0, 8.9. All right, a bunch of fake data. Now, we know that to get this answer for the speed, I divide distance over time. 6 divided by 9, and we figured out that that's 0.67. Right? But is there an easier way to do that and make the spreadsheet do the math for you? Does anybody remember how to set that up? Good. You start with equals. Always start with the equal sign when you want to use one of those functions, one of those automatic things. So we start with equals. And then what do we want to do? And what do? We tell it what to divide. Yep, click B2 equals this one. And then that's the distance. And so we put that over. So do the slash there, the forward slash. And then what goes on the bottom? B2 over C2. And look at that, it did the math for me. And it even wants to autofill. I'm going to tell it no for right now. Look at all those decimal points. I don't want all those, so I'm going to format the number so it only has 2 decimal points. And that'll make it easy to look at, 0.67. Look at that. Now, how do we copy and paste this function all the way down the row? Who remembers how to do that? You remember the secret trick? To copy and paste all the way down the column, rather? Drag the little square, exactly. There's that little square at the bottom right-hand corner of the cell you have selected. So select the one that has the function in it that you want to copy, and then drag it all the way down. And as long as you don't have any dollar signs in here, it's going to change the row number as you move down to new rows. So B3 over C3, B4 over C4, B5 over C5. And look at that, it did all my math for me. Let's make it look really nice by putting some borders on it like that. So now we have all of our test numbers. Now what do we want to do? We want to calculate average speed and maybe minimum speed and maximum speed. Let's make a little area for that. And we'll say we're going to do the min, the max, and the average. And the min what? The min speed, the max speed, and the average speed. Okay. How do we make the spreadsheet calculate the minimum for us? You guys remember that one? That function? There's a way to make spreadsheet do the work for you. You could look through here, you could look through these and find which number is smallest, but you can also make the computer do it for you. So we're going to type the equal sign because we always start a function with the equal sign, and it's min, minimum value. And then it wants you to select your range. So I'm going to select all the cells. And what that does is make the computer look through all those cells and find the lowest value. Oh, 0.65 was the lowest speed. Max works the same way, equals max equals max. And then select your range. And it'll find the highest speed. The highest speed was 0.86. And then to find the average speed or the mean, do equals average. Select your range. And what that does is the computer goes through and adds up all 10 of these and then divides by 10 to get the average speed. And let's make sure we have the units somewhere so we know what units everything's in. Name everything. Let's even make the text centered in both of those columns so they look really nice. Oh, and let's make sure there's borders around everything with the borders button. Cool. Now we can copy and paste these spreadsheets straight into a Google Sheets file or a Google Slides. So if you're using Google Slides for your presentation, check this out. Slides.new. Make a new Google Slides presentation. And let's say we want to put this data table on our second slide. Just copy it with the keyboard shortcut, Control-C. Go here to our slide, paste it. It's better to do paste unlinked because then it's just going to copy the text and paste it. And hey, look, there's our spreadsheet in our Google Slides. And you can even make it pretty. You can highlight all the things and make a fill color so it has a cool colored background and looks nice. You can change the width of the columns and the size of the spreadsheet to make it fit however you want it to fit. Works really well. Let's do that with our other one, with our other values. Copy it with Control-C. Click anywhere else on your slide and do Control-V or paste. Paste unlinked, and it's just going to give you your numbers and not the functions or formulas. I want to move some stuff out of the way. Let's move this down somewhere. And same thing, you can make this a different color. You can make it bigger. You can change the text, make it pretty. And you'll see in the example video, the example presentation that I put up on YouTube and in your Google Classroom, how I did that with spreadsheets with the sample data. I hope that you found this video helpful. Hope that it helped you with these concepts. If you'd like to see videos on other topics, and please leave some comments below. Don't forget to like this channel, subscribe to get alerts when we have new videos to help you with these scientific topics. Have a great day. Happy learning.